Hello students, so today we will be able to identify different angles, classify triangles, we will be able to use a protractor to measure an angle and draw an angle or a given measure, and we will be able to determine the measure of an angle separated into parts. Make sure to write down your objective. So how do we use a protractor? First, when we're presented with an angle, you're going to choose a ray to be the bottom of the protractor that you're going to line it up with. Then you're going to place the center point of the protractor on the point and have the bottom ray point to 0. So I'll show you what that looks like. So our angle here, I'm going to choose this red ray to be the bottom to match up with my protractor, like this. I want to make sure that my ray lines up with the point 0 right here, and the vertex of my angle goes right in the center of the protractor. Then I'm going to use the numbers counting up from 0 to measure the angle. And I'm going to stop when I get to the next ray. So follow this red ray over to the number 0, and now I'm going to count up from 0. Notice I'm not starting at 180 because we don't start at 180 when we count. We start at 0, just like when we count up. So from 0, we're going to count up until we hit the next line. So we're going to go up, 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 10, 20, 30, 40, and our next line hits at 50 degrees. So this is a protractor here. Make sure you want to line it up with the vertex in the center point, and you want to measure the ray along the line until it's at 0, then follow the numbers up until it hits the other ray, and that is the measure of your angle. So it's 50 degrees. What would the total measure be if we put these two together? So if we have two separate angles, first we want to imagine them put side by side like this into one larger angle. So we think of this as adding them together. 50 degrees plus 30 degrees is 80 degrees. Next thing here, what would the total measure be if we put these together? So again, we're going to think the same thing. We're going to put the angles together, and essentially we're going to add the angles up. So we're going to put 50 right next to 70 to make one large angle. Now, if you know how to identify this angle, you would say this is an obtuse angle because you know it's more than a right angle. So we have 50 plus 70 degrees is 120 degrees, definitely an obtuse angle. Okay, what is the measure of angle BAC? So first, let's identify which angle is BAC. So I'm going to see point B. A is in the middle because it's the vertex, and C. So right here, they're wondering, what is this angle? That's why there's a question mark right there. Well, the way to think about this is you know what the total measure of this angle BAD is. Notice, what is BAD? If you thought it was a right angle, you're correct. Now, a right angle is 90 degrees. So we take our total that we do know, 90, and we subtract the other piece of information they gave us, which is 20. So we can find the difference, and that will give us the missing angle. So we take 90 degrees, the total, minus 20 degrees, the known angle, and we get 70 degrees. That's going to be our missing angle. Now you can check your work by adding 70 plus 20 to make sure it equals this total angle of 90. 70 plus 20 does add together to equal 90. Let's try that again. So what is the measure of angle QPM? We have Q, P, and M right here. So we're trying to figure out this question mark right here, that angle. Well, first, we need to figure out, do we know the total amount? We do. If you look at QPO, the total amount of degrees that a straight line is, if you said 180, nice job. So we know the total is 180. Now, what do we do with the pieces that we do know? We're going to add them up and then subtract them. So first we know 45 and we know 60. Let's add them up. 45 plus 60 is 105 degrees. Now to find this remaining amount that we don't know, we're going to take the total, 180, and we're going to subtract it from what we do know, 105, to give us our answer of 75 degrees. Now we can always check our work and make sure 75 plus 45 plus 60 should add up to equal 180 degrees. If you are doing this, try the next two problems on your sheet and write an equation to solve. What must all the angles equal? Ooh, okay, we're trying this again. You have to know what the circle altogether is. So we're going to add all the pieces that we do know. We know 90, 45, and 180 degrees. So we're going to add all those up. 45 plus 90 plus 180 is 315. Now here comes the other part. You have to know the total of the circle. How many degrees is the circle? If you said 360, give yourself a pat on the back. 360 degrees minus what we do know, 315, will help us find this missing angle, which will be 45 degrees. If you're doing this part, try the next problem on your sheet. Write an equation to solve. Now, how would we classify these angles? This is a little bit of a review. So let's look at this angle here. Do you remember what this little square means? That's a little cheat sheet to tell us it's a right angle. Nice job. Now, a straight line, what is that? It is a complete straight line. Now, the measurements for each of these, if you thought 90 degrees and you thought 180, nice job. And moving on to the next slide, let's find right and straight angles. Micah drew this square on a piece of paper. Then he made the following cut. So he made a diagonal cut through this square. If one piece has a 45-degree angle, what is the other piece? So this is using the same knowledge where if we know the total and we know one of the pieces, we can find the other part. So this square right here makes a right angle. How big is a right angle? If you said 90 degrees, nice job. Now we subtract it from what we do know. So 90 minus 45 degrees will equal 45 degrees. So our missing angle would be 45. Notice as well, this diagonal line split this angle directly in half, which is why 45 and 45 is on either side. It split 90 degrees exactly in half. Let's try it again. So let's find right and straight angles. Kayla had the following piece of paper. This yellow piece is her paper. She cut off the end to make a perfect rectangle. So she didn't want this little triangle piece up here. She wanted to cut it to make a perfect rectangle. What is the angle of the piece she cut off? So when she cut off this little triangle piece, what is this angle here? Angle X, meaning our unknown angle. Well, we're going to be able to use our knowledge of the straight angle and our knowledge of what they gave us, 215. So we're going to say 215 is the total angle, and we know that this part is 180. So what we can do is take our total, 215, and subtract our knowledge of this straight angle, 180 degrees, and that will find our missing piece, 35 degrees. All right, nice job today.